Hello everybody, Big Beardy back again with another video, and it's the Sunday report on a Monday. So first of all, really sorry this is a day late. I was working on Saturday, I buggered my foot, I was absolute agony all of Sunday to the point I barely left my bed. It was just every time I put any pressure on it, I was in pain, and I thought there's no point doing a video because I just wouldn't be able to concentrate and think on what I'm saying because of the amount of pain I was in. Taking a load of pills, it's a lot better today, so hence this is why the video is actually a day late. But Sunday report on a Monday, and obviously Sunday report is my favourite video of the week because I just get to talk about my week and a load of bollocks on top. So here we go. Workwise, it was a bit of a weird week. It was all split up. Didn't get any work on Monday. There was nothing really about. Then I got some multi-drop stuff Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, I was very conscious that Friday was going to be a bank holiday, so I sort of was like, if there's nothing local, I'm not going to bother taking it because I wouldn't get a job back. So I didn't do anything Thursday, and then Friday, I actually got work as a multi-drop local and Saturday. So I worked 4 days, which isn't too shabby. But there were all 4 days were multi-drop stuff for two different companies, and it sort of shows how different companies do different things. One of the work I did Tuesday, Wednesday was for a company I worked for before, and it was large but light stuff. Now, I've done large but light stuff for another company, and it was horrific. It was just a shambles, nothing worked right. It took me, you get there at 9:30 in the morning, you don't get out till 1 o'clock, and then you don't do your first drop till like 3 because you got to drive 2 fucking hours. This company, which I did work for, it was a lot better. They knew what they were doing. The route was planned. The stuff was ready. I was loaded and ready to rock within 45 minutes. Everything in order. Sheet of paper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got it done. The only downfall was with that one is I had to go back to the warehouse to hand in the paperwork and any loads that obviously couldn't be delivered. But that was actually quite an enjoyable experience. I actually quite enjoyed doing that. And then Friday, Saturday was some of the smaller stuff, like 80 odd parcels and all that sort of. And that's how I buggered my foot on the Saturday. I was walking up and down hills, and my foot just, I don't know what it was. I've either rubbed it or banged it. I can't even remember doing it, but by sort of 4 or 5 o'clock Saturday afternoon, I was in agony. So that was my working week. It was, I haven't made great money, but it's ticking over. And if you speak to most people out there, most of the work is multi-drop. So if it's there, take it. A couple of things happened to me though on Friday, which were quite strange, and I wanted to discuss them real quick. Obviously, it was the bank holiday, it was V-Day. We all, had the 2-minute silence at 11 o'clock. Now, because I was on the road, I always do the 2-minute silence, no matter where I am, no matter what. I could be in a shopping market, I could be anywhere. One year I was actually working on a building site, and I was working on a morgue. So there was a graveyard, there were soldiers buried there, so I paid my respect to them, and spent the 2 minutes, in reflection over their graves, which, was an experience. It was a bit weird, but it was, it's what you do. So this year though, I was obviously multi-dropping, so I set my alarm, and it went off. I was halfway walking down the street, I had about 4 or 5 parcels in my hand. I set them down on the path. I stood there in silence, bowed my head, and just stood there in quiet reflection. About 40 seconds into me standing there, this bloke comes up to me, who I didn't see because I'm obviously not looking around me, and he says to me, "Morning, what are you doing?" And I sort of looked at him like, "You're a bloody moron." I said, 2-minute silence, mate. And he went, "Oh," and he sort of went to start a conversation. I had to shush him and wave him away. It was like, are some people really that daft? He was obviously, it's not like he was someone who didn't understand our culture, understand what the day was. He was obviously English. He we all know what the day is. And you would think anyone who, you might say, oh, maybe he didn't realise it was 11 o'clock, it was time for the silence. But if you see someone silent, just standing there, and it's around 11 o'clock, put 2 and 2 together. So that was a bit strange. And then I obviously finished my silent, carried on with my day. The second thing that happened that day, which actually filled me with a bit of pride and made me smile, I was in a little village. I drove onto a road, and there was every single house were on their front lawn, set up social distancing, having tea. You might have seen some people do this, having tea on their front lawn, all chatting, having a good time, having a couple of drinks. I've driven onto the street to deliver a parcel. I've got out, and as I've got out, every single one stood up and clapped. And at first I thought, are they taking the mick because I'm working on a bank holiday or something? But then I realised it was appreciation for, similar for the nurses and stuff. And they sort of said, thank you for, working during this time and all this. And it sort of took me aback. And I delivered the parcel and I said, thank you. And I got back in the van and I drove off. And about 20 minutes later, it sort of hit me. It was like, that was weird. And, it sort of, made me feel good. Now, I'm not that much of a narcissist to realise those claps weren't just for me. They were for everyone who was doing what they were doing. It wasn't, look how amazing this man is, he's delivering parcels. They were directed at the nurses, the doctors, the first responders, the key workers. They were directed at everyone. I would just happen to be the person on the street, and they wanted to show a little bit of appreciation. And I'm thankful for that. It made me feel, I've never been at a job where I've just sort of turned up to do something and everyone stands up and starts clapping. So it was a nice experience, and it sort of comes full circle. It was a day of respect and showing respect to people. With the day it was, showing respect to our armed forces and all the people that have lost their lives in the First, Second World War and every war since and before. So it was a bit of an emotional day, really. And I actually, you got to look back and reflect on it and realise what happened. So for anyone who might be watching who was actually on that street and remembers my beardy face, thank you very much. It did cheer me up, that. Right, on to the next bit. I've been getting a lot of comments on my videos. I try to respond to most of the comments, but I'm getting to that point now where I'm getting I'm getting a lot come through, and if I try to respond to everyone, I'm never going to get anything done. So I've decided I'm going to, if they are comments that I think deem they need a video, or a question that thinks this actually needs a video done about it, I will do a video about it. But if they're just little comments, I'm going to do a little quick fire question answer bit on my Sunday report. It's the easiest place to do it. I'm not going to go on for ages. I'm just going to do 3 or 4 each week, and which I think are important. So I've just written a couple down. Let me get on with it. MWV, he was talking, I did a video about, I think I did a question the other week about where's the cutoff when you're tramping, how far away. He says he doesn't return if it's anything over 100 miles. I do sort of Cambridge was about 70 miles. So we're sort of in the same realm there. I do Cambridge and then down London. London's like 110 miles away from where I am. The very north of London. So I sort of do that. So I'm in between 170 and 110 miles away from home. Anything further than that, I'm staying out. You might be able to hear banging. That's the tree stuff falling because I'm parked under a tree. And it's very windy today. But we're both in the sort of same boat there. Anything over that sort of 100-mile range, dead miles kill your business. And if you're doing more than that, then you're just sucking profit out of your business. So he's spot on there. I'm sometimes I'm a little bit shorter, sometimes I'm a little bit longer, but roughly in the same area. I also believe MWV, he has a channel now. He's done a few videos. If this is the same person, Steve, I think his name is. So go check him out. If you can find him in my comments, have a look. He's doing a few videos. So good on you, Steve. The next one, Tom Winter. He says, from one of my videos, he says, is a curtain side of Luton with a tail lift the money? Is that what you want? I would say a Luton is the van you should go for the majority of the time. And I think with everything that's gone on, it sort of reflects that. We're all trying to fight for work, and if you have, the more options you have, the better. That's why I sort of said Luton on one of my previous videos. It's one of my first videos, I think. Is the Luton gives you just more options. You can take any size van. I don't like taking small van jobs because I think there's small van drivers that they're the only jobs they can have. They should have those jobs. But at the same time, with everything that's going on, I've got to bid on everything at the moment. And because I've got a long wheelbase, I can bid on everything. If you've got a Luton, you can bid on everything a little bit more. You've got a bit more choice. So when it does get back to a bit more normality, it gives you that option as well. And also it gives you more options outside of the CX and all these other apps. You know, house removals are a lot more easier with a long wheelbase. Not a long wheelbase, sorry, a Luton. The tail lift helps a lot. Obviously with a Luton, with a long wheelbase or anything like that, you either need a ramp to get some stuff up, or it's just not big enough. So I would say a Luton, tail lift, curtain side if you want, but a Luton is probably the way to go. Next one, Reza, I think that's how you say it. Raza. He's having problems quoting, and I'll be honest with you, mate, at the moment you will. Nothing is normal. I think, like I said, one of my earliest videos was how much should you quote depending on the size vehicle. That is all been sort of thrown out the window at the moment. Like, he's got a long wheelbase, I would always say £1 a mile, but at the moment if you're bidding £1 a mile, you're probably not going to win. You've got to go a bit lower. Everything seems to drop. I don't like saying that. I think we should try and stick to our guns, but the reality is you've sometimes just got to go where the market's taking you. So it's a lot of trial and error. If you're not winning bids, try going a bit cheaper, or phone the shipper straight away and go, listen, how much is this job going for? What you got in it? What's winning? You know, and try and get a feel that way. Next up, Clayton Heywood. Post load. Oh, that was it. Yes. Sorry, I can't use myself there. I was talking about my last video about the different packages the CX has got. He's saying actually the starter package, the only real difference that the starter package has to what I've got is that he can't post loads. So the live map is there. You click on it and it shows everything. So that sort of reaffirms what I said in that video. If you're starting out, get that starter package because it's pretty much got everything you need in it. So that's the Q&As. I'll just quick drop them out there. What else has been happening? Boris had his little speech last night. Go to work, don't go to work. Don't use public transport, go to work. Everyone be aware, go to... I don't think much has really changed. Apart from you can exercise whenever the hell you want and maybe go more places to exercise, but you've got to keep the social distancing. When it comes to us doing what we're doing, nothing's really changed. It's the exact same. Be aware, try and protect yourself as much as possible. You know, we've been working anyway because our work is literally driving. You have to be in a van. You cannot work from home. So for us, it's not really changed. I'm hoping more places will open, which will generate more work and increase the work we're getting, which would be fantastic if they did. With this sort of slow introduction they sort of spoke about last night, I thought it was all going to come back and then there'd be a big explosion of work. I don't think that's going to be the case now. If they're doing it the way they're saying they're doing it, and it's sort of like stage, I think that work will slowly increase. And it'll be a gradual, which probably isn't the best thing for us. I would rather have an explosion and lots of work rather than we're all fighting our way up the chain until we get back to normality, because then we are just sort of fighting up that chain. If it's just, there's a load of work out there now, there's plenty for everyone. So we'll see what happens. And sport came back. UFC had an event on Sunday morning. It kicked off at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I watched it yesterday. Oh, I missed that. I missed a good fight. And it was a brilliant event. If anyone who's watching this who's not into the UFC or MMA, probably don't know what I'm talking about, but I love it, and it was one of the most stacked cards I've ever seen. Great fights from top to bottom. If you are into boxing and you've never watched MMA and you're craving some sport, go watch it. It was brilliant. There was knockouts galore. Watch out for the very quick Ngannou fight. Fantastic. I'm not going to try and spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but seriously, go watch it if you can. It was a brilliant event. It was a bit weird because there was no crowd, but I thought that was going to be a major thing, but really it didn't take away from it at all. It was fantastic to watch. So please go check out the UFC 249, I think it was the name of the event. Ferguson versus Gaethje was the headline. Great fight, absolute stunning fight that was. So really go check it out. And that's been it. Oh, I did get asked one other question, which I think I'm going to cover real quick, which I think a few people have been asked watching around the channels, is now the time to join the CX? And there's varying opinions about this. And I can't say yes. I've said this on a previous couple of videos since this has all happened. In all good consciousness, I cannot say to someone, now is the time to join the CX. I don't think it is. In 2 weeks' time, it might be. And before this all started, you know, my very first video, I came up with 3 categories of people and who should be joining it and who shouldn't. That would have stood before and it will stand after. But right now, I can't say go do it. If you're going to do it, I'm not going to stop you. I don't want to tell anyone don't do it, but I, in my opinion, can't endorse it, as it were. If you want to do it, go for it. I will. If you want help, I will try and help in any way. That's why I do these videos. I will back you, and I wish you the best. But I can't say, in all good consciousness, actually go and do it. Also, I'm going to be I'm going to get on Twitter. I've never been on Twitter, which is weird. I'm not a social media dude, you know, which is strange for someone who's got a YouTube channel, but I don't really have any social media. I've got, you know, Facebook, but that's for friends and family and bloody... I barely even look at it anymore, to be honest. So I've decided to go on Twitter. I've been recommended, I think it was Jason, said, you know, a lot of drivers use it and discuss stuff on there. So, you know, if I'm getting that advice from someone, I'll be a fool not to take it. So I'll be jumping on Twitter this week, and I'll let you all know my Twitter handle. Is that what it's called? I don't know. See, I'm an amateur. So I'll be jumping on there and having a look at that. And also there's a few guys, like I said, Steve started doing videos. There's Danny Boy. You're right, Danny Boy. He's doing a few videos, which is great to see. Obviously, we know Pete's got them, so go check those guys out. It's all about the, you know, don't just listen to my opinion. There's more opinions out there than just mine. So go check out Danny Boy. He's doing some. One thing, Danny Boy, and I will say this. He's just done, I think it was yesterday, he did the Sunday launch or lunch. I can't remember the name of the video. He's done it in a very small room. It's just him talking to the camera, and there's a Mr. Meeseeks in the background. You trying to say something, Danny Boy? Are you doing something? I'm only messing. Go check out his videos. He's a good lad. And as always, have a great day, and I'll speak to you all soon. Take it easy.